Hello, math students, and welcome back to our module on percents and proportional relationships. This is lesson 6, and it is called Comparing Quantities with Percent. Our goal for today we will work with the formula quantity equals percent times whole. The question that I want you to think about is, how do you identify what the whole is? All right, going to our things to know section. There are two helpful methods that help us when we're trying to figure out quantity equals percent times whole. And one of the methods is called the arithmetic method, and the other one is called the algebraic method. When you're working with the arithmetic method, what you can use to help you see it is a double number line. And hopefully you'll remember what double number lines are from back in 6th grade when you were introduced to them. But a double number line, it says, use a double number line to show the corresponding quantities. So basically what you're going to do is you are going to draw a number line, okay? And here is what I mean by the number lines, right? And then you're going to split them up into sections with them labeled. So the top number line is where you're going to show your percents, and the bottom number line is going to be where you show your values. And so anything that we would write up here, it would have a percent sign attached to it. So 0%, 100%, 25%, 35%, 85%, and then the quantity is the amount that goes along with that percent. The algebraic method would be you just plug in your values that you're given when you identify them as the quantity, the percent, or the whole. The most important thing to remember about the algebraic method is use the formula quantity equals percent times whole. Be careful to identify all of the pieces of the formula first. So the first thing we have to figure out is, do they give us a percent? Write it there. Do they say the percent of a number? Then you would write that number there. Or if it would say like a number is this percent of what number, you have to look for those quantifying words that will help you figure out your values. So we're going to try it using both models down here. Here's our story. There are 750 students in the 7th grade, and there are 625 students in the 8th grade. What percent is 7th grade? What percent is 8th grade? Okay, so what our job is we've got to figure out what percent is 7th and what percent is 8th. And we know that the students are, but we don't know what the percent is. So your job is to figure it out. So for me, what I'm looking at is 750 students represents 7th grade, and then we see that 625 students represents 8th grade, and then it says what is the percent of 7th grade, what is the percent of 8th grade, and what I'm seeing as missing is what is the total? Okay, what is the total? Now, we don't actually have to have this question written down, but it is what I think of in order to start figuring out percentages, because I know that 100% in any problem equals your total amount. So in order for us to figure out the percentages, we need to know what would be the total number, because we know that 100% always equals the total. So if we go back up here and up on the percent sign, we're going to put 100% right here, and then we've got to figure out what number would represent the total. So the story says that 750 students are 7th graders and 625 students are 8th graders. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add those together because we're only talking about those two grades right now, and that will give us our total. So 0 plus 5 is 5, 5 plus 2 is 7, 7 plus 6 is 13. So now I know that the total number of students in this situation is 1,375. So under quantity, I'm going to write 1,375. And now my job is to figure out the percent for 8th grade and the percent for 7th grade. So the percent of 8th grade and the percent of 7th grade. Okay, So it says 7th grade students was 750, and then 8th grade students was 625. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to list them on there, right? And then we're going to figure it out. So if I know that 100% is 1,375, then that is my 100%, so that is my total. Another word for total is the whole. So if we know that the whole and the total are the same thing, then we can use our formula. So the whole is 1,375 times what percent equals 625. Okay? And if we do 625, that's the 8th grade students. So this is the 8th grade sentence. Then we also have to turn around and then say, okay, 1,375 times what percent gives me 750. So now we have two equations that we have to figure out, and what we're trying to determine in those two equations is what is the percent. So what is missing is the percent. So that's our job to figure it out. So what I am immediately doing if I'm using the formula is I'm going to do a VU chart for both, all right, because my variable in this case is going to be the percent. I'm timesing the percent by 1,375, so I have to divide by 1,375, and then I will have the percent. And remember, when you're getting a percent, don't forget you have to multiply the decimal by 100. Okay, so now let's do some math. So it says 625 equals what percent times 1,375. My BU chart says to divide both sides by 1,375, so I'm going to do that. And then I will be left with my percent, right? So now I have to take 625 divided by 1,375, and I already know that that won't go in there evenly, so I have to put some decimals in there. So this is a 0, and now I ask myself, how many times will 1,375 go into 6,250? And so I'm going to say, let's try 5, but I don't want to do it up there, so I'll do it right here. Okay, times 5 first is 25, 35, 36, 37, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 1. That would be too much. So it's a good thing I didn't write it up there. Okay, so now let's try 4. 1,375 times 4, that's 20, 28, 29, 30, 12, 13, 14, 15, 1, and that's that. Okay, so that will work. So we're going to say 4 times, and we get 5,500. We're going to subtract that off, and we get 0, 5, 7, 750. Okay, so we know that 5 could possibly work. How about 6? Try 6, that's 30, 42, 43, 44, 45, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. That's 8, so that's way too high. So now the next one has to be a 5. 6, 8, 7, 5. Subtract that out. 625 again. Oh, so now it's repeating. So this is just going to be this repeating, right? So remember what I said that you have to do after you find the decimal is you have to round or multiply it by 100. So this would be somewhere around 45%. So if we go up here, we now know that the answer to this one is somewhere around, so we're going to say about 45%, right? Well, then that's easy, because what you do is you come up here to your chart and you're going to say 45% is less than half, so we're going to say 45% is about right here, and we know that 45% is 625. So now, in order to find 7th grade, then all we have to do, because remember our total is 100, you're going to take 100% minus 45%, and you get 55%. So then 55% would go here, and that would be 750. So we now know that what is the percent of 7th grade? The percent of 7th grade is 55%, and what is the percent of 8th grade? 8th grade is 45%. Okay, and we were able to do that by just using both the algebraic method to set up quantity equals percent of whole, and then once we figured out what the percent was for 8th grade, we then subtracted that from the total, and we got the percent for 7th grade. Okay, so going back to our goal, today we will work with the formula quantity equals percent of whole, and then the question that you were asked is, how do you define what the whole is? Basically, you have to find it. In this problem, they didn't give us the whole. We actually had to find it by combining the 8th grade and the 7th grade as being our total, and then we found the whole that way. Okay, so just thinking things out, using common sense, using some logic, and then these problems are pretty simple. Okay, kiddos, that's all I have for you today. Talk to you soon. Bye.